In these times of uncertainty, turmoil, and unprecedented challenges, the Virgin Mary emerges as a beacon of light, hope, and guidance to troubled hearts and searching souls. His message is not simply a warning about the difficulties ahead. It is a profound invitation to strengthen our faith, deepen our relationship with God, and prepare ourselves, both spiritually and physically, for the events that are about to shape the destiny of humanity. This call is not just for a few, but for all those seeking solace, direction, and purpose in the midst of the global storms around us. Mary implores us to remain vigilant, aware of the distractions of the modern world that constantly attempt to pull us away from what is essential, our vital connection with the divine. We live in an era where global crises, devastating pandemics, incessant wars, catastrophic natural disasters, and growing social tensions seem to multiply like waves of a raging sea. In this context, Mary warns us of future events that will test our faith to the most extreme limits. Among them stands out the appearance of a mysterious disease, a plague that could spread rapidly throughout the planet, causing immense suffering, widespread sadness, and chaos in the structures that supported our daily lives. However, Mary does not leave us helpless. She offers us comfort by emphasizing that fervent prayer, absolute trust in God, and the unity of believers are our most powerful weapons against any adversity we may face. At the center of its message is the Rosary, a devotion that transcends the simple ritual act to become a spiritual shield, an indispensable tool in our fight against the forces of darkness. Through each bead of the Rosary, we meditate on the mysteries of the life of Christ, finding in them strength, comfort, and renewal. Mary urges us to embrace this practice not as an empty or mechanical custom, but as a powerful spiritual weapon that can protect us in the darkest moments. Today more than ever, incorporating the Rosary into our daily lives can make the difference between falling prey to fear and staying firm in faith. Every prayer spoken with devotion is a ray of light that illuminates our path and connects us more deeply with the infinite love of God. Along with the Rosary, Mary also highlights the value of sacramentals, such as miraculous medals and scapulars. These objects, although simple at first glance, carry a divine power that acts as protection against negative influences and spiritual threats. By wearing them, we not only manifest our devotion, but we are also continually reminded of God's loving presence in our lives. They are tangible symbols of our trust in His care and provision. Mary reminds us that these sacramentals are not mere religious adornments. They are spiritual tools that strengthen our faith and help us resist temptations and evil attacks. The heart of Mary's message, however, lies in her call to live with love, humility, and unity. In a world fragmented by division, hatred, and discord, these virtues become the most powerful antidote. She invites us to open our hearts to the radical love that Jesus Christ exemplified, a love that does not discriminate or judge, but embraces even the most vulnerable, marginalized, and sinners. Humility, for its part, reminds us of our dependence on God and our mission to serve others with compassion and generosity. And unity, that force that unites us as a human family, stands as our greatest strength in the face of collective trials. Mary exhorts us to support each other, to build communities based on love and solidarity, and to be instruments of peace in a world that cries out for reconciliation. Through her message, Mary offers us a double promise. On the one hand, a warning about the difficulties to come. On the other, a ray of hope that illuminates the path to victory. The trials will be arduous, but not insurmountable, if we remain faithful to prayer, cling to the Rosary, trust in the sacraments, and live according to the virtue of love and unity. This is a time of spiritual renewal, of strengthening our community of faith, and of fully trusting in divine providence, knowing that God's love will guide us through every storm. Mary assures us that, Although the shadows may seem dense and the path full of obstacles, we are never alone. Her maternal intercession and the unconditional love of God are our greatest guarantees of protection and salvation. A call to action and faith in difficult times. More than ever, we need to hear the voice of the Virgin Mary, whose eternal wisdom resonates in our days of uncertainty. His teachings are a beacon that illuminates the path to inner peace and global unity. Mary exhorts us to humble ourselves before God and live with open hearts, imitating the unconditional love that Jesus Christ demonstrated by including the marginalized and healing the broken. This love is not selective, embraces everyone, especially those who suffer, those who have been rejected by the world, and those who have lost hope. Mary reminds us that true greatness lies not in power or wealth, but in the ability to love and serve others with humility. Unity is another cornerstone of his message. In a world fractured by conflict and division, Mary calls us to come together as one family, supporting each other in prayer and action. This solidarity creates a network of spiritual strength that transcends borders and nations, offering protection and resilience in times of trial. Only together can we face global challenges with faith and determination. Mary invites us to overcome the barriers that separate us, whether cultural, political, or religious, and to work for a more just, peaceful, and compassionate world. Unity is not an option. It is an urgent need to survive and thrive in the days to come. Preparation, both physical and spiritual, also occupies a central place in Mary's message. Current times demand more than an emotional or mental response. They require concrete actions to protect our families and communities. She urges us to strengthen our physical health, recognizing that spiritual and bodily well-being are intertwined. Additionally, it reminds us of the importance of being ready for potential disruptions to daily life, whether due to resource scarcity, communication breakdowns, or social instability. Mary encourages us to be proactive, to not wait passively for crises to arrive, but to take preventive measures that allow us to face them calmly and wisely. One of Mary's key lessons is the need to organize and prepare practically. Storing vital information in accessible formats, securing basic supplies, and planning for emergencies are crucial measures that strengthen our ability to withstand adversity. But at the same time, spiritual preparation must go hand in hand with physical preparation. By caring for our homes, our health, and our inner lives, we empower ourselves to face any challenge with faith and conviction. Mary reminds us that true preparation is not only accumulating material resources, but also cultivating a deep relationship with God that sustains us in the most difficult moments. An inspiring example of this message is the story of Josip Turelya, a Ukrainian man who suffered persecution for his faith during a dark period of political and religious repression. Imprisoned for his steadfast devotion to God and the Virgin Mary, Joseph found strength in prayer and in Mary's maternal intercession. Despite the terrible conditions, his faith did not waver. On the contrary, it became his shield against hatred and injustice. Finally freed, he continued to boldly share the gospel, proving that love and faith can overcome even the toughest trials. Joseph not only survived, he flourished spiritually in the midst of adversity, becoming a living testimony to the transformative power of prayer and devotion. Joseph's life teaches us that faith and prayer are essential to face the greatest tribulations. His example inspires us to stand firm in our beliefs, no matter the circumstances. When we trust in God's plan and hold on to our faith, we gain the strength to walk with grace and courage in the darkest moments. Mary reminds us that we are not alone in this fight. She is always at our side, interceding for us before God and guiding us with her maternal love. As Mary reminds us, we must remain vigilant in prayer, united in love, and committed to preparing for what awaits us. Let us focus on the pillars of faith, love, humility, and unity, while taking practical steps to ensure we are ready for the challenges ahead. It is through this combination of spiritual dedication and practical preparation that we will be able to face the turbulent days ahead with hope and confidence in divine providence. Mary assures us that although the path is difficult, God's love and her maternal intercession will guide us through any storm. With faith, protection, and the power of prayer, we will overcome every challenge we encounter, emerging stronger and more united than ever. In the midst of an increasingly restless world, where the shadows of fear, uncertainty, and chaos seem to spread like a dense fog over our lives, the message of the Virgin Mary emerges as a bright beacon that illuminates the path to hope, peace, and spiritual preparation. This urgent call is not only a warning, but also an invitation to deepen our relationship with God, to strengthen our faith, and to build solid foundations that will allow us to face the challenges ahead with courage and confidence. The Virgin Mary, loving and protective Mother, walks alongside us on this journey, reminding us that we are never alone, even in the darkest moments. This message is not simply a set of encouraging words, it is a call to action. The Virgin Mary exhorts us to recognize that prayer is much more than a repetitive ritual or an empty tradition. Each Our Father and each Hail Mary are powerful acts of faith, doors that open our hearts to divine grace and connect us directly to God. These prayers are spiritual shields that protect us against temptations, doubts, and evil forces that seek to divert us from the path of truth and light. But Mary also reminds us that faith is not limited to words. It must manifest itself in concrete actions. This is a time to prepare ourselves both spiritually and practically, to strengthen our families and communities, and to ensure that we are ready for what may come. Joseph Torellia's example resonates deeply in this context. His story is a living testimony of how faith can sustain us, even in the most extreme circumstances. This Ukrainian man was brutally persecuted for his devotion to Christ and his fidelity to the Church. Imprisoned, tortured, and isolated for years, Joseph found solace not in material comforts or acceptance from his oppressors, but in his unbreakable relationship with God and the maternal intercession of the Virgin Mary. Through constant prayer and absolute trust in the divine plan, he managed to overcome trials that would have broken any human being. His life teaches us that, no matter how difficult the circumstances, our faith can be the anchor that keeps us firm and allows us to move forward with hope. It inspires us to remain courageous, not to give up in the face of difficulties, and to trust that God always has a purpose, even when we can't see it clearly. Mary's message goes beyond simple resistance, calls us to be active protagonists in building a better future. She invites us to adopt the virtues of humility, love, and unity, because these qualities are what will allow us to survive and thrive in times of adversity. Humility reminds us that we are not owners of our destiny, but instruments in the hands of God. Love compels us to be beacons of light to those around us, sharing the mercy and compassion we have received. And unity teaches us that, together, we can face any storm. In a world that often prioritizes division and selfishness, these virtues become a healing balm that strengthens our relationships and unites us as a community. Spiritual preparation is essential, but Our Lady also urges us to take practical measures. We cannot remain passive, waiting for problems to resolve themselves. We must plan wisely, act with determination, and trust that God will guide our steps. This includes taking care of our material needs, protecting our families, and being ready to offer help to those who need it. The spiritual tools that Mary makes available to us: the Rosary, the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, devotion to Saint Michael the Archangel, are powerful weapons that strengthen us in the fight against evil and help us remain firm in our faith. Mary reminds us that this is a time for action, not complacency. We cannot postpone our spiritual preparation or let fear paralyze our decisions. Now is the time to deepen our relationship with God, to seek His wisdom through prayer, and to open our hearts to His infinite mercy. As we do so, we will discover that His love is enough to sustain us in any circumstance. This love gives us the strength to face the unknown with courage and confidence, knowing that we are guided by the maternal hand of Mary and protected by the grace of God. The message of the Virgin Mary is a reminder that our mission in this world is not only to survive, but to live fully as witnesses of the love of Christ. We are called to be protectors of the faith, defenders of the vulnerable, and beacons of hope to those around us. By embracing this calling, we transform our lives and those around us. We become instruments of peace and reconciliation, voices that proclaim the truth amid the noise, and hearts that reflect the unconditional love of God. As we move into the future, let us do so knowing that the Virgin Mary is at our side, guiding us with her maternal love and powerful intercession. May His words inspire us to act with courage, to trust in the divine plan, and to share the message of hope with those who need it most. Together, in prayer and action, we can face any challenge, knowing that we are loved and protected by the Almighty. Thank you for joining us in this message of faith and hope. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, we invite you to do so to receive more reflections that nourish your spirit and help you deepen your relationship with God. Share your thoughts, prayers, and experiences in the comments. Together, we form a community of faith that seeks to live under the maternal guidance of the Virgin Mary. May His blessing and love always accompany you, now and for all eternity.